Hi, this is a run through of the Twins fight in veteran Dreadsail Reef. I'm mostly going to let the video play through, but I'll stop at certain points to explain what's happening from my perspective as the tank. So this is the first key thing. With this, you're going to have an Atronach that spawns. There's actually going to be two in total. As the off tank, which I am, you want to grab the Atro for a little bit until this comes. You'll see an imminent chill debuff that happens on the main tank. When you see this, soon you're going to have to switch such that the main tank grabs the Atronach, or two Atronachs if there are currently two on the field, and you have to grab the main boss. And so you see, you try to do this at around 8 seconds. That's just the standard for when you want to switch to give each other enough time. And so here, the boss is charging up its heavy attack. This is actually fairly devastating for a few reasons. The main one being, if you get hit by it, it has an infliction of a heal absorption debuff. I'll show that shortly, which the healers have to heal you to get rid of. If you try to dodge roll this attack, it will enrage the boss and make it do more damage with all of its attacks. That is typically less preferable than having the heal absorption debuff, but roll dodging could make sense if there are no healers alive. You can also just tank the hit sometimes, but it'll do a massive amount of damage, will probably kill you, and if it doesn't, that inflicts its own set of debuffs. I use Green Dragon Blood here, just because that can increase the amount of healing I receive from the healers, so I can get rid of that debuff faster. So that's the debuff. You'll see my health bar turned this bluish color. Until that bluish color goes away, I have that heal absorption debuff. After the boss hits you a certain number of times, I think it's 5 times, but I'm not sure about that, the circles will start to form out from under you. There will be 5 circles. If you stand in these for too long, they will kill you. They do a lot of damage over time. You want to generally place these 5 around the edges of the dome to keep it away from other people, but somewhat organized. So usually with these teleport positions, you're going to have the DPS go to all 4 of them, 1 per at least. This was not a very organized group, so I had to take one of them. So when it comes to mine, I interact with the opposite color dome, which is the fire dome in this case, and then I have to bash and interrupt him. After I do that, I have to get rid of the fire dome. I have to interact with it again, such that when the new boss comes down, the ice dome doesn't conflict with it. Because if the 2 domes touch, they explode and do a lot of damage. So this was the same thing, which you'll see I was a little slow here. I grabbed the boss a little late. That didn't really matter, but you'll see the boss moves a little too towards the center, which can be problematic if the DPS are trying to burst down the Atronachs. They might accidentally do damage to the boss as well, pushing it into its next phase, which would be a problem, because if it starts doing its teleporting while the Atronachs are alive, it is a huge pain in terms of managing the domes, keeping them around the Atronachs, while allowing yourselves to have it on the boss to interrupt. Especially going into the phase where there's the two bosses, it's a pain. So there, they were a little slow with the interrupt, and you can see how quickly the boss, when it does that channel, starts to take people down. So the main tank decided to take the fire boss, and so they tank that by the ice dome for convenience. And then I am supposed to grab this ice boss and tank it by the fire dome. So here you have the same debuff that you had before, but now the switching is such that you are actually switching the bosses rather than the Atronachs. So I have to run to the other dome and tank the fire boss now, and the main tank has to do the same, except now they need to move to the ice boss I was originally tanking. Typically you do this switch as soon as possible just to really make sure you have enough time. That's because there are a number of things that can make you not want to switch right away. One is if those AoE circles go out from underneath you around this time, it can be inconvenient or even dangerous to switch while you have those going on. And also, if the boss is about to heavy attack, you really don't want to switch until you are heavy attacked, because if the other tank taunts the boss while they're in the heavy attack animation, they will get heavy attacked, probably not expecting it, and die. That was a very clean switch for the most part. You can see the bosses are more or less still on their sides. That's really good. Sometimes you get it so one is taunted sooner than the other, and so they'll be kind of in the middle or even close to the other dome. This is generally fine. It's only an issue if one of the bosses starts channeling that move that needs to be interrupted in the dome that is opposite of their color, in which case that's probably the end for you. So the placement of the AoEs here was good to prevent the main tank from having to walk through them to taunt the other boss. I should have kept the boss taunted a little longer, just so it would continue to attack me rather than the DPSs or the healers until the main tank was ready to take it from me. But sometimes you can't help it. So here you can see in the middle there, the rune brand is forming. DPSs are supposed to take those between the domes and they stack on top of each other. There'll be 2 DPSs who get it. And if they do that, it will explode but not kill them, and it won't kill anyone around them. The person who had this clearly didn't know that, and so they are going to explode on top of the group, and you'll see what happens there. So you can see that did a decent amount of damage. Fortunately, it seemed like the healers were expecting it to a large extent, and so they were able to heal some of that damage to prevent it. But still, what happened there was it got rid of the dome. So if that boss started channeling and it had to be interrupted, you wouldn't be able to interrupt it until you get the dome back up. You're also not doing as much damage to it, and so that's really not good. It could have easily ended the run. As the tank, if something like this happens and the boss is not about to die, in this case it is, so it's not really an issue. But I've been in cases where it was not about to die. What you should do is you keep the boss taunted until the other tank takes it from you. If you have magma shell or something to really keep yourself healthy, that's great to use at this point. If the healer, the one who typically holds the dome, or the DPS who's dedicated to hold the dome, is dead, and the boss starts to channel, even though it's not ideal, you should grab the dome and interrupt the boss. Because even though you'll start to take progressive damage, someone else will have to grab it from you, because now you have this fragility, you have to go to the other dome, and you can't go there with the ice dome. It's a better guarantee of not wiping as a group than if you don't do that, because the interrupt is necessarily going to be a wipe.